I decided to do a biography. I thought it would be fun. Um, I decided that I would talk about John Hancock. Um, he was born on January 23rd, 1737. Other reports say January 12th, 1736. He was an American founding father, a merchant, a statesman, and a prominent patriot of the American Revolution. He's one of the reasons why the country was founded. His death date is October 8th, 1793. I should be able to remember that because my best friend was born on October 8th. Obviously, quite a few years after that, but still. He served as president of the Second Continental Congress, and he was the first and the third governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The reason why they call it a John Hancock is because he was remembered for his long and stylish signature in the Declaration of Independence. So that's how we came up with that. He also signed the Articles of Confederation and used his influence to ensure that Massachusetts ratified the United States Constitution in 1788. And I just want to say it here now, he was not a perfect man, none of the sort, but he was very instrumental in the country's founding. Before the American Revolution, he was one of the wealthiest men in all of the 13 colonies before the country was founded. So he inherited a profitable mercantile business from his uncle. Now, an interesting story. His dad had a bunch of children, and he was a preacher man, and he didn't make a lot of money. And so his uncle offered to take on John and adopt him and all of this and give him an inheritance and everything, because he didn't have any kids, or at least he didn't have any sons. I don't think he had any kids at all. But he began his political career in Boston as a protege of Samuel Adams. He was an influential local politician. The two men, that's John Hancock and Samuel Adams, they eventually became estranged. Hancock used his wealth to support colonial causes, and because Great Britain and the colonies were increasingly not getting along back in the 1760s. He was very popular in Massachusetts, especially the Boston area, because of certain things he did to make this a country before it became a country, and to fuel the fire between Great Britain and the United States. He was born in Braintree, Massachusetts, in the part of the town that eventually became Quincy, Massachusetts. He was the son of Colonel John Hancock Jr. of Braintree and Mary Hawk Thaxter, widow of Samuel Thaxter Jr., who was from nearby Hancock, Massachusetts. As a child, Hancock became a casual acquaintance of young John Adams, who the Reverend Hancock had baptized in 1735. The Hancocks lived a comfortable life and owned one slave to help with the household work. Like I said, he wasn't perfect. After Hancock's father died in 1744, he was sent to live with his uncle and aunt, Thomas Hancock and Lydia Henchman Hancock. Thomas Hancock was the proprietor of a firm known as the House of Hancock, which imported manufactured goods from Britain and exported rum, whale oil, and fish. It was a highly successful business. It was one of the richest in Boston, and he was one of the best known residents of the area. They did not have any children of their own. That's how he became their son, their adopted son. He went to Harvard College and graduated there. So he's well educated. He fought in several wars, at least the French and Indian War. Thomas Hancock, who was his uncle, I believe that was, Thomas Hancock had close relations with the royal governors of Massachusetts, and he secured government contracts during the war. Hancock, John Hancock lived in England while building relationships with customers and suppliers. Basically, he didn't like being taxed to death. So, in a way, it wasn't patriotism of America exactly. But also, he didn't want to be highly taxed and not have representation, which is not exactly in the Constitution, but it is an ideal that we hold close in the United States. And basically, he was a popular American while he was alive, especially in his home state of Massachusetts, particularly in his which he was born in America while it was part of British America, but he wanted to be free from the taxation and the soldiers just running roughshod over everybody and taking whatever they wanted from people. I couldn't possibly do a 15-minute deep dive. It'd be hours just to scratch the surface. But there are some interesting videos on YouTube. There's a lot of interesting articles. He really is an interesting man. And he helped somewhat with giving ideals about what should be in the Constitution. But people don't know much about him other than what he said. What people say about signatures. Sign your big John Hancock. He was the president of the Continental Congress. So, he deserves being remembered, in my opinion. So he was a very important person in the history of the United States, in my opinion. And you should look into him a little bit. And in fact, I think I'll look into him a little bit more. I doubt I'll do a part 2, unless people want it. But, you know, there's not really a lot of information about him, I don't think, unless you do, unless you're like a historian that looks into every historic thing. There's definitely more information about Sam Adams and both John Adams and John Quincy Adams and Thomas Jefferson and a lot of other people that were born in the same time frame. But I just wanted to do a little video, audio about him, and I'll put this up for, I think, probably a Sunday, but I should be able to do a few more batches tomorrow or Thursday one, and then I'll be 3 weeks ahead again. But I like that way, because, you know, look what happened before. I was 3 weeks ahead, and by the time my back got better and all of that, I was only a week ahead. So I'm trying to do this, well, actually less than a week ahead, because it's the 17th, and I had the one for the 21st scheduled, but not the one for the 23rd, 25th, and 27th. I think this will be for the 29th, and then tomorrow or the next day I'll do one for the 30th, the 30th, the 1st, and the 3rd at the very least. And then, you know, or I might do one for the 4th as well, and that way I'll be a little bit ahead. I don't like being too far behind. But anyway, it shouldn't affect you. Sorry I got to rambling. This was about John Hancock, the wonderful patriotic American that had his flaws, but was all in all a good man. And please like, subscribe, comment, share. And if you comment, as long as it's constructive, you can comment anything that you want. If you have any ideas on how to help this channel grow, I'm open. Either email me at truecrimelover2022@gmail.com. And with that said, I'm gonna go, because I did good. I kept it under 15 minutes. And with that said, I will see you. You will see or hear me next video. Okay, bye bye.